Hey everyone, it's Marsh. So this is new. You actually get to see my face. Usually it's just gameplay behind a review or summary. So what I wanted to actually do here today was do a book review for you guys, because I don't just play games, I also read books. Now, I'm not a booktuber, I'm not a reviewer, I'm not analytical, all those things, critical, and I'm just going to explain what I liked, my pros, my cons, what I thought about it, the slight summary of it, and just let you know my overall thoughts. Because I have some opinions, you probably have different opinions, we're human, we all do. And I just want to discuss it with other people who enjoy books, because I don't always get to talk about books with other people, because not everyone reads nowadays. But let's get into it. What we're reading today is Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. I'll see you in the video. So, we got Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. This beauty here is a comedic book about the Antichrist of all things. So, what it's about is the Antichrist is actually being born in the world on Earth, and he has to be raised by humans, but not only humans, he has to be influenced by either demons or angels, because obviously hell wants him to be raised that way, to be evil and to take over the earth and heaven and to follow their inevitable plan, and heaven wants to do the opposite and stop him, obviously. So that's basically what it's about. It's about these two forces trying to influence a child while he grows up. That's a brief summary on it, I would say. In terms of characters, the main two characters that we have are Crowley, the demon, and Aziraphale, the angel. Now, with Crowley and Aziraphale, you have the lackadaisical, whimsical, not really caring that much Crowley. He kind of goes with the wind, does what he will, doesn't care for rules as much, and wants to cause little trouble overall with people and have little inconveniences in people's life. And then you have Aziraphale, the angel, who is holy, he owns a bookshop, he loves reading, and he always wants to do good. There are many other characters, probably 10 plus point of views in the book. I'm not going to go through them all, but those are the main two, as well as the child in this case, which is the Antichrist. So, what are some of the pros and cons when it comes to this book? So, first pro, I would say, is the humor. So Good Omens, when it comes to its humor, is very British. It is very dry, it's very abrupt, abrasive, in your face. It's not very slapstick like American humor is, so that is something to look out for. If you're not into British humor, or if you've never experienced it, you may not enjoy it. For example, popular show, The Office. A lot of people have seen it. They love the American one. You try to watch the British one, and people oftentimes hate it, at least here in the United States. And that's because the difference between British and American humor. And that's prevalent here as well. Even though one of the authors is American, one's British, it falls more towards the British side, and I would say you don't really even notice the American influence on it at all. It's a very British book. And then along with that, it's also partly my first con as well, is the humor, because it's not for everyone, like I said. That's more of a personal preference. It's not really a con against the book itself. It's something you just gotta experience on your own and see what your opinion is on it. The next pro and the next con I want to discuss are actually in terms of writing style and formatting. So the pro would be when it comes to writing style. Here we have two very established authors. We have Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. Neil Gaiman, I've read a few of his other books. I read Neverwhere, The Ocean at the End of the Lane, and the thing about Neil Gaiman with his writing style is it's not the same as everyone else when it comes to describing things and his prose. So for example, when someone, let's say, describes something that's red, they may say it's as red as a strawberry, or it's like blood or something, or a ruby. When it comes to Neil Gaiman, I find oftentimes he gets mundane objects or very pop culture references that he uses to influence or to change his prose. So he can describe something in a very strange way you never would have thought of, but it will be a perfectly vivid image in your mind. And that's something that he's actually very, very good at. And it's kind of hard to actually explain it just here on the camera. It's something that you actually have to read for yourself and experience. And if you read Neil Gaiman, you know what I'm talking about, I would say. Along with that and his prose, he is very whimsical as well. He's not going to be super flowery, over descriptive, things like that. Oftentimes he comes off as like a whimsical narrator when it comes to his prose, which I actually enjoy very much. The same goes for Terry Pratchett as well. I've read Guards, only one book from him so far, and even that book, you can see the similarities between that and with Good Omens. So for example, Terry Pratchett is known as the king of absurdism, and you could obviously tell when he's writing, it's very absurd, it's out there, it's off the wall, but also very smart at the same time. He oftentimes also has some type of political message in it. It's not just being comedic for comedy's sake. There's always some type of message, and even if you may not agree with it, I still appreciate that because it is a deeper meaning in the writing. And then the next con I want to talk about going into the same thing is the formatting. This is the one issue I've had with Terry Pratchett when I've read him. I am personally a very goal-oriented reader, so I need chapters. I need chapter 1, 2, 3. I need to go through 5 chapters a day or something like that. I set a goal for myself and I go through it. I can't just read random amount of pages, be like, oh, I'm done, and put it down. I personally need some type of chapter to stop at, and with Terry Pratchett's writing style and formatting, which this book is formatted more based off Terry Pratchett than I would say Neil Gaiman, there's not really chapters at all. There's points of views, and then a double-spaced paragraph to go to a different point of view. And along with that, there's also footnotes as well. So I'll talk about the point of views first though. When it comes to the point of views, you'll be looking at one person for a whole page, and then you'll maybe go to someone for another paragraph, and you'll maybe go to someone else for a full 5 pages. And it will do this continuously throughout the story. And personally, it's a little bit off-putting for me, not fully. The only reason I say why is because sometimes you have to figure out who is talking right away, or you don't know right away, so you may have to reread the paragraph after you figure out who it is so that you fully get it. That's just a personal thing. It may not affect you at all. That's just me. It's nothing against the story though at all. The other con when it comes to the formatting, which is in the same boat, is the footnotes. Some people hate footnotes, some people don't. I personally am not a huge fan. Some of them are very clever actually, and they like tie into the story. So when you read, if you stop at the dot and you go to the footnote, you read it, it continues exactly, and then it finishes off and it goes where you left off at the same time as explaining it. The thing about footnotes for me is why bother, essentially, in my opinion. Unless it's something totally crazy or a word you don't understand and you need a definition for, then why not just include it in the story if it's like some whimsical offhand like comment about something. That's just a personal preference. It's nothing against the actual story itself. You may not have an issue with it. I just wanted to bring it up because some people may have issues and some people may not. The next pros and cons I want to talk about is actually character voice is the next pro. When it comes to the voices of the characters, you can easily tell the difference between who's who, their personalities, and what's going on. That's a very good thing because, like I said, it does switch viewpoints many times. And so you will oftentimes have to think about that. And so sometimes you'll go from a page being with someone, a paragraph being with someone, but no matter what with the dialogue, once the dialogue happens, you usually know who it is. So once you get to that dialogue, you're totally fine. That's also goes into my next thing, or the next con, which it really isn't. It's just more a preference or a notice. I noticed personally that the book is more like a long screenplay, I would say. So for example, I would say that it writes more like a screenplay or a TV show because it goes from scene to scene to scene, and that rapid just one paragraph. In a show, it's easier to visualize that because you see everything, you know who's there. You don't need to wait for the dialogue and see who's talking. And that's why it was adapted into a TV show, but we're not talking about that today. But it seems like a long screenplay in terms of the formatting, to be honest. And finally, the last pro I want to talk about and finish it off on, that is the story itself. It's very smart the way they actually did the story. They have everything in like a chronological order. You go through with each character on each day, and you know at what point where you're at with them, and you can see each story slowly intertwining until it meets at the climax and everyone meets. And I really liked how they intertwined everything and brought it in. You get to see what happens to this child who is the Antichrist and how he's raised and how it was affecting him with these two influences. If they're there the whole time, who knows? But yeah, that's one of my favorite parts, is the story about this. And it's quite enjoyable. I would highly recommend it as well. So, final verdict. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it's the best book ever. I've enjoyed Neverwhere more by Neil Gaiman and Guards by Pratchett more. And I wouldn't say it's the best thing ever. It's not sliced bread, but it is still very good. I would recommend it if you love British humor. If you like books with a lot of biblical references, there's Adam and Eve just on the very first page, where you have Aziraphale and Crowley influencing the story of Adam and Eve. And so if you enjoy that type of thing, you'll really enjoy this. So basically, guys, thank you for watching. I plan on doing a few more book reviews as well. I just finished The Dark Prism, and the first book in the Lightbringer series, as well as the first book in the First Law trilogy. And I plan to do reviews for both, as well as maybe some funny skits, you don't know. Something, I'll figure it out, whatever comes to my mind. Other than that though, thank you for watching. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys later.